G'day, this is Mr. Thompson, and this is a video for my Wednesday robotics group, and we're going to build this combat robot. Now, this is a good robot to start with. It's a wedge robot, so it doesn't have a weapon. It's just like a sumo robot. It just pushes other robots around. So it's got this scoopy thing on the front, it's a 150 gram robot, and it's a really good one to start with. In fact, if I just take that, if I hide that lid there so we can see inside, you'll see we've got some motors and brackets in the side there. Don't worry, you don't have to build the model for the motor. I'm going to, I'll give you a file for that. Somebody else has done that for us, but you'll build the body and then the body of the robot in this tutorial. I'm probably going to break this tutorial down into, I don't know, 3 or 4 parts, so it doesn't get too long. And in this first part, we'll create the shell. We'll create the body of the robot. All right. Now, let me just point out over here. I've created my own little folder because this robot will have, there's a few parts to it. I'm assuming you've already built the wheel, which is what I showed you last week, how to make a robot wheel. And we're going to use that wheel together with we're going to include that in this project here. So I've created a folder. You could create a new folder or a new project if you want to as well. So anyway, let's get started. I'll just close that. Yeah, no, actually I don't need to save anything on that one. Okay. Let's see, so we've started with a new model, a new design. So you could have gone File, New to do that, or when you just open up Fusion, it'll be ready to go with a new model. Okay, now, because this robot is going to have multiple components, not just one component, rather than just go ahead and start building the body, I'm going to create the body in a new component. So the way to do that is to click on New Component here. And let's see, we'll call it the robot body, like that, and go OK. And you can see now there's a component there. So rather than just create sketches under the root level, I've created a new body because then we'll add we'll add 2 wheels to that. So there'll be a bunch of different components in this assembly. Now that we've created the body, I guess now we can create a sketch. So if I start by creating sketch here, now I'm thinking I probably want this robot to be facing down to the right in the home view. So if I create the sketch on this plane here to start with, like that. Now, if you don't have a mouse with a wheel on it, you do well to get one. So if you're in my class, in my classroom, we've got some spare mice with wheels on them. So if you get one of them, it just makes zooming in and zooming out so much easier. So do yourself a favor, get yourself a mouse with a wheel on it and use that. You can pinch the trackpad on your laptop, but it's a bit painful. All right, so I'm going to create a rectangle. So I can either go Create Rectangle, 2-point rectangle, or I can just use the letter R on my keyboard. So you know what, let me just do that. R on my keyboard, there's a rectangle. I'm going to click on the origin, and then I'm going to click. Oh, now before I click anywhere else, I know the dimensions of my rectangle. So I'm just going to type 60 and then tab to go to the other dimension, and that needs to be 40. So like that. So when you draw a rectangle, you can draw first and then dimension later, or you can dimension as you draw. So I've just dimensioned as I've drawn then. Okay, so that's the start. Now, I guess I want this scoopy bit on the front here. So I want a circle. So let me just do that. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to click out here anywhere. I guess it doesn't really matter where. And I'm just going to draw a circle, and I don't even care what size the circle is yet. So escape. Let's see. I want that circle to line up with that point there. So I want the edge of the circle to line up with that point. So I can use this constraint here called a coincident constraint. And if I click on that, I can click it there or I can click it there, either way. So now if I click on the circle and then I click on that point there like that, can you see now if I press escape a few times so I can so I'm not doing that anymore. See, I can move that circle around, but however I move that circle, it's going to keep the edge of that circle on that point. So that's good. Now I probably need to make another constraint down here. So let me draw the bottom of the scoop here. So I'm going to use L on my keyboard for line. So again, I could do create line like that, or just use L on the keyboard. So let's do L on the keyboard, L, and I'm going to click there. And I'm going to come out here. Oh, now I know how far I want to go. I want to go 40 millimeters, like that. Oh, and not to there actually. I want it to go there, like that. Okay, can you see that's automatically put a horizontal constraint on, so that line's horizontal. So that's why it's gone black. It's fully constrained now. Okay, now I guess what I want to do is I want to put another coincident constraint. So a coincident constraint like that. Now I've already got that point selected, I think. So if all I probably have to do is just touch that circle there. There we go. So now if I press escape a few times, now if I try to move that circle, I can still move it, but can you see it's always keeping it on that point there and that point there. So that circle's not fully constrained yet, not fully confined, but you can see it's already doing that. Now, I think to fully constrain it, I'm just going to put one more dimension in. So D for dimension, D on my keyboard for dimension, or I could do a create dimension like that, or D on my keyboard. Okay, so D on my keyboard, click on the center of the circle, and then click on, well, I could click on that. I'm going to click on the origin. And see, you can see it's giving me all sorts of options as to where I could put my dimension. I'm going to put my dimension over here because I want that distance there to be 80. And I found if I do that, then that gives my scoop a nice shape. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to press escape so I'm not dimensioning anymore. And now I'm ready to extrude. So I guess if I press E for extrude on my keyboard, and I want to extrude that section there is the first thing I want to extrude. And let me just rotate my view a little bit with my view cube so I can see what's going on. I want to rotate symmetrically both sides. So I want it to come out both. See how that's extruding from the center, both sides out. Okay, and how far do I want to come out? Well, actually, I want the length of the whole thing to be 80 millimeters. So if I click on this whole length like that, and then type in 80 millimeters, 80 there, okay, that means it's 80 from that side all the way through to the other side there. If I used this button here, then that would make it too wide because that would mean it's 80 on both sides, which would mean that's a total of 160. But that's what I want. I want both of the sides together to add up to be 80. All right, and that's going to be a new body, which is good because I haven't got any bodies yet, so that makes sense. So click OK. Now, you know, my scoop picture is gone. That's okay, I can find it. So what happened there was once I did an extrusion, Fusion thought I was finished with that sketch, but I'm not. So Fusion turned it off. I'm just going to turn the visibility of that sketch back on again, like that. You know what, I'm actually going to name that sketch too. Let's call that the side robot body side profile. Okay. It just, look, I don't always do that, but it's good practice to name your sketches and name your bodies and name your components so that it's easy to find them later if you want to make changes. So if I was doing everything properly, I would probably name all of my sketches and all of my bodies, but I get a bit lazy sometimes and don't do it. I'll see if I can remember. Okay, now let's see that. So that's turned back on again. So now you can see there's my circle. You can see the rest of my sketch. Now I want to extrude again, but I want to extrude this section. So I guess if I click on that section there and then press E for extrude, and again, I want to do a symmetric extrusion, and I want to use the distance of the whole length, and that whole length needs to be, actually I'm going to make the whole length equal to 100. 100, enter, like that. And you can see that leaves, I rotate that around a bit like that. You see that leaves a bit of room that I can hide my wheels behind the scoop there, and it looks pretty good. So, so that's what I'm going to do. Now, we don't need this circle anymore, so I can actually turn that sketch off, like that. And the sketch is still there, but we can't see it because I've turned the visibility off. All right, that's good. So here we go. Now, this is a solid object. Now, if I 3D print that, I've just got a block of plastic. That's not what I need. I need a shell that's hollow on the inside. So I'm going to use this tool up here, the shell tool. So you can find that it could be on your toolbar, or you might have to go modify and shell like that. It doesn't have a keyboard shortcut, but we'll just click on that, shell. Now I'm going to click on this top face here. And what that's going to do, actually let me do the rest first. I'm going to select the shell. I think I'll leave this as a default. I'm going to press 2 because I want a 2mm shell. And my shell wants to be inside. That is, my original shape that I drew remains as the outside of the object, and it makes a 2mm shell on the inside of the object that I just drew. Okay, if I clicked on outside, it would actually make my whole object bigger than it was before, and I don't want that. So I'm going to click on inside. All right, now let's see. Yeah, that'll do. I'll click OK there. And now if I rotate around, can you see inside here it's all hollow? And that first face that I selected to start with, it's actually taken that face away, and it's made all of the other faces of my solid into a shell. So that's good. That's exactly what I want. All right. You know what? That might do for this video. We'll continue on in the next video.